Hey, folks, how you doing? Happy. It is that time of day, and it is that time of week when I say, aren't you so happy it's Thursday? So here's the thing, people. Right now, your favorite orange coin, Bitcoin, is trading in the 96K range. That's right, 96K. Just a few weeks back, it was 69K, and now it's 96K. How the tables have turned, right? That's right. Who said we couldn't have a good month? No. Doesn't mean that we're going to break 100K today. Well, it's certainly within the probabilities. That's why we look at the daily probabilities when we trade, right? Even if we look at the high time frames of the weekly, daily, 3-day, 5-day, even whatever, work it down to the daily and then look lower than that to see the intraday information. You certainly have the probabilities of 100K being hit today. It's the second standard deviation, or the second Laplace distribution today is at 100K on the daily, probability bands. So it certainly is within that realm. Obviously, if you're looking at the weekly, it's also between second and third normal distribution bands. So depending on the time frames, yes, it is entirely within the realm of probabilities, right, that it could hit 100K today or this week. Really, what's left of the week in terms of big moves, probably. I mean, yeah, you could have a crazy weekend. Certainly had a very nice weekend last weekend on Saturday. But, if we happen to have a chill weekend this week, then there's today and tomorrow, pretty much, for the traditional trading. But you'll notice that the moves don't always happen during the traditional trading hours. For example, this latest punch up to 96K came from, buy pressure that happened well after traditional market trading hours, right? So it was an after hours trading. Yes, there's always a market open. So obviously, Asian markets were open at that time, and you could say that's where it happened. Yeah, well, maybe. That's part of the beauty of a 24-hour global market, right? We don't really care when or where. Right? What matters is that it does, and that it is. Ah, yes. The fabled slow-moving cleaning machines. We'll let that thing go. Let that thing catch its pace. Anyway, so if you'll notice, there is a pretty high probability that Bitcoin makes moves, not just during, obviously, traditional trading hours, but also during after hours, right? That happens a lot, actually. Around the start of the day, and, end of the day, start of the day. In this case, it happened shortly after the start of the new day on the daily candle, which is like at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time in the U.S. And I guess now it's 7 p.m. because the clock always moves back and forth on the daily candle temporarily. Anyway, there are certain dates of the year when it does these things. So right now it's an hour behind what it typically is, like during the summer hours. So yeah, so that move to 96K was very nice for the buy pressure. Obviously, if you look at the VRE charts and you'll notice the targets that it hit, what did it tell you after that move? It said, take your profits on the trade. Again, if you're just buying and holding, I'm not talking about that, right? I'm talking about low time frame traders. After a move like that, when it went from the 94 area up to 95 and shot up to 96 very quickly, that's a very good indication of taking your profit. And you can say, but wait, that's only like a little bit more than 1%. Yeah. You don't need to be greedy, right? Now, if you think that is a sweet move, right, just wait till the thing approaches 100K, which is getting close, right? 96K. I mean, hey, it's 96% of the way there. Who would have said it's going to be there, a few years ago? Well, a lot of people were saying it, but they were talking out of their, what, because it didn't have good leading information as opposed to what we have over at Alpha Trading, which is literally leading information. So, is there a probability that it hits 100K again today? Yeah, it's within the probability. There's a 95.5% probability marker right around there on the daily probabilities. That doesn't mean that it's 95.5% probability that it will hit it. What it means is there's a 95.5% probability that it won't close above that range or below the second Laplace or the 95.5 Laplace below the mean. That there's that range. That's what that means. It means that there's a 95.5% probability that the price action will be contained within that range, which is pretty wide. But certainly that probability does exist. Can it go beyond that probability? Of course. Just a short number of days ago, it went beyond that probability, right? It's not entirely impossible at all, right? And there are plenty of assets that even on weekly time frames blast past it, right? Last week, Bitcoin did that as well on the weekly and 2 weeks ago. So is it possible that we'll see the asset rise up to 100K? Yes. Now, what's going to happen is you're going to have little pullbacks of $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000. And those are going to get people really wrecked, right? And if you got like, a whole Bitcoin, for example, on the line, for some stupid reason, you're trading it at 10x because the amount of volatility in Bitcoin isn't enough for you. I don't know what to tell you. You need to learn how to control your greed, right? If you know that an asset, let's say it gets to 100K, okay? Let's just make it easy math. Let's say Bitcoin starts trading at above 100K on the regular, okay? Pretty much stays above it for a long time, okay? That means that on any given day, a 1% move is $1,000. It means if you have one Bitcoin and you catch just a 1% move, that's $1,000. Have you ever seen any other asset that so consistently delivers 1% moves or more? Now, yes, there are days when it has ranges that are slightly tighter, maybe 0.5%, pretty much the tightest day, right? Or 0.75%. Okay. So on a very super tight day when the price action is at about 100 grand, if it makes a 0.5% move, that's $500. No leverage. 0.5% move. You realize it does that in like 15-minute candles all day long, right? So I'm just saying, When this thing gets up to about 100K or more, which it's already really close to, you may as well say it is now. Be extremely careful with the leverage. In fact, I would avoid it. Right? Even if you don't have a whole coin, right? Look, if you have 1% of a coin at 100 grand a coin, that's $1,000 worth of a coin. If it moves 1%, you just made $10 without any leverage. May not sound like a lot, but what if you do that 10 times in a day when it goes back and forth? Made $100. Again, may not sound like a lot to you. But what if you're from a country where the average salary is $3, right, per day, or 5, or 10, or 20? You still made multiples of your average salary in a day, right? What if you build that up over a period of a week or two, where instead of 1% of a Bitcoin, now you have 2% of a Bitcoin? Suddenly you have $2 grand worth of Bitcoin. And then the next time you trade it, when it makes that 1% move, you're making $20 per trade. Right? Do that for a couple more weeks. Suddenly you have 4% or 5% of the Bitcoin. And you're starting to build up your stack, right? And slowly but surely you work your way up. You get yourself a quarter Bitcoin, or half a Bitcoin, eventually a whole Bitcoin. Yeah, it takes time and effort. It's not easy, but it's a better path forward than gambling with insane leverage. Yes, there are people who win with leverage occasionally, but they are far and few in between. It's like lottery ticket winners, right? Yes, once in a while there's somebody who wins the big lottery, but then there's millions and millions of people who lose. The difference between buying a lottery ticket and trading is, in trading you can lose a lot of capital. In lotteries, you can only lose as much as the ticket you bother to buy and fill out, and throw your money into the wind. So you have to fill out each ticket, and that takes a bit of time, and most people don't have the patience to do more than anywhere from 1 to 100 of those at any given time, however many people do. Hey, so probably most people don't do more than a couple of those at a time, right? Unless it's like a huge jackpot or something, and then people will sometimes buy 10 or so. I'm talking about average people, not people who are gambling addicts who go to the lottery stations every day to buy tons of tickets. There are people like that, right? We know that, and they are constantly losing money, and then they'll have a win rate of 3% win rate, and they'll think they're spending their money wisely. They're just getting played, literally, right? If you think you're winning 3 times out of 100 makes you a winner, you're getting played. It's the same thing with trading with leverage. If you think that winning 3 trades out of even 10 makes you a winner because you use leverage, think about how much you lost because of leverage on the other 7 trades. Hi. Yeah. Yep. It seems that I got that video shaky thing going on, the frozen video. Anyway, we're coming to the end of the video here now, so if you want to learn how to trade the VEPs, come to Alpha Trading. We'll show you how. If you want your handheld, literally, with private tutorials, we can do that. We offer private tutoring. People who learn from us learn really well because we have a particular way of showing you the most important things first and foremost, and have a very meticulous process. So feel free, alphatradinghq.com/discord. Again, alphatradinghq.com/discord. rektcom.com/discord. All right. That's going to do it for now, folks. Talk to you later. Happy trading.